Okay, welcome back. We are going to make perked coffee with the classic Pyrex glass coffee pot. So we're going to fill this with water almost up to the ring. And I always use filtered water, which I'm going to get from the fridge. Okay, so we have our coffee pot. I got a little below the line because just when it starts to boil, we'll add some more because it's going to be superheated and it's going to be a little explosive, which you'll see. This is a 9-cup. That's a 9-cup Pyrex. Here is the basket, which we are going to load up with coffee. And what I've been using recently, I'm going to show you, is this Colombian roast from Starbucks, not Starbucks, Costco. I know Starbucks make some of their coffee, but they don't make this one. This is a Colombian Supremo. Okay. That's bean coffee, which I grind. Hopefully I got enough in here. It's time to grind more. So what I do is I'm going to put in one, I like it strong, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's not all. Now I'm going to top that off with some of this espresso. This is, I'm going to show you where that comes from. That's this stuff, El Caribe. Vacuum packed, you pop this and the whole thing, it's like a brick now because it's vacuum packed. When you pop it, it gets soft and you can scoop it out and put it in a mason jar. And you should always store your coffee after it's ground or opened in a mason jar that has that nice, let's pull this back a little bit, it has that nice rubber seal. Now this is espresso. This is going to really goose it up. I'm going to put 1, 2, 3 heapings. Now if you would put the espresso with the bottom, you notice they put it on top of the ground coffee. If you put it on the bottom, it'll go through all the holes under this plate, the percolator plate, and muck up your coffee. You'll wind up having like Turkish coffee. We'll have to let all the muck settle. So the ground coffee goes first, the costly ground coffee, and I grind it just a little bit finer than a perk grind. And on top of that, you put the finely ground espresso so it doesn't go through the other coffee, actually acts as a filter. Okay, so we're going to wait for this to boil, and then I'm going to show you what happens. Now these coffees, you could use anything you want, pre-ground, whatever. I have all kinds of coffee here. I have this Mayorga from Costco. There's all my espressos. I haven't opened yet, like the one I showed you. Pilon, El Dorado, Cafe La Lava. They're all great. Nice switch from one to the other. El Caribe. And this is the ground Costco coffee beans, which it's time to grind more. And like I said, I like a nice strong cup of coffee. So this is for the 9-cup. You got to be very careful with these things. If you break anything on this, forget about it. This glass stem, this cost a fortune. You could practically buy the whole pot because that's the easiest thing to break. Okay, so watch the pots don't boil, so we'll come back in a second. This Mayorga I get from Costco is really good. 100%. 100% what? It said 100% something on it. I think it's, organic. There we go. 100% USDA organic. You know, a lot of these coffees are grown in these other countries, Colombia or whatever, but they're actually roasted in the United States. Really good coffee. But this Costco, whatchamacallit here, Colombian Supremo, that's also really good. This stuff is great. Yeah, this stuff is great. And I never ever put sugar in coffee. No, 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 no. Never, never, never. Ever since I stopped. Once you learn not to use it, you can never ever go back. Let's see how this coffee pot's doing. Alright, now it's getting very close to the boiling point. This is where you need to be very, very, very careful. That water is going to look like it's hardly boiling. And if you make the mistake of taking that basket and dipping it in there, you are going to get the burn of your life, because that water is literally going to erupt and explode. Because it's under, I don't know how this works, it's under tension, whatever the heckin' problem is, I don't know. But it very, very rarely comes to a true rolling boil. I actually have a separate video just on this topic about superheated water, and I use this coffee pot as the example. Now you see how it's boiling. Let's see if it actually goes into a real rolling boil. See, that's boiling, but that's not a real rolling boil. So what I'm going to do, what you should do all the time, this is not just you're boiling water like this. If you put a cup of water in the microwave, oh, very, very dangerous. Now, I don't know how bad it's going to do it, but I know it's going to do it. But you're going to get the idea. I've seen this water jump that high, literally 6, 8 inches, 10 inches above the pot. Let's see what it does when I put it. I'm going to top it off up to the ring. Now, watch what happens. Okay, it did it just a little bit. But sometimes it can be extremely violent. Now that we got rid of that problem, we put our basket of coffee grinds in. Put the cover. See, this is what I mean by a percolator. That water is going to bubble, come up the stem, which they call the pump. It's going to shoot out the top, splash against the inside of this cover, and rain down on that plate, and then rain down on the grains, and it's going to repeat and repeat and repeat until it gets all the coffee out of the grains. Now I timed this 9.5 minutes. Once it starts to perk, and I actually see a little bit of color in the water, which takes a couple of minutes or so. Let's see what happens. Keep an eye on it. Then you lower the flame, by the way, because then you run the risk of it just spilling over the top, because the espresso is a very fine grind, and it's got a lot of quote-unquote coffee in it, and it just tends to foam if you don't lower it. Now it's going to start perking. See? And that's like the old-fashioned fish tank filters used to work on the same principle, but not with heat, with air bubbles from an air pump. Okay, so that glass stem / pump is going to be splashing the water into the top, as you see there. We'll start picking up speed. Now we're just starting to see that little amber tint in the water, which is telling us that the grains are finally getting wet and they're starting to leach the coffee into the pot. So now we start the timer, 9.5 minutes from now. We'll lower this flame way down to about there. And it's going to just go faster and faster and faster. There it goes. Now this is not rocket science. I mean, 9.5 minutes. If it goes to 10 minutes, big deal. If it's 9 minutes, big deal. One time I left it going. It might have been going for 10 or 12 minutes. I don't even know. Still tastes fine to me. I'm not that picky. I really want to extract all that good coffee flavor out of those grinds. See, now she's really rolling away. That's it. We'll lower the flame one more time. And you keep the flame about like that. If you have an electric stove, I guess you got to do it on. I had an electric stove one time. It was a pain in the neck. Try to regulate the heat. Okay, so we'll see you in 9.5 minutes. We'll set up the cup. I'm going to have some nice, delicious cornbread, I think. Yeah, I just picked up some cornbread. Look at that. Isn't that nice? Here we are in Staten Island, and this cornbread comes from Canada. We imported from Canada, of all places. You'd think they couldn't make cornbread here. But it's good stuff. Nice and moist. Okay. So as we perk away, this is my modest coffee mug that I will dip my chunks of cornbread in. Now, as far as this coffee pot, these are no longer made. They haven't been made in I don't know how many years, 20 years, I have no idea. In fact, sometimes you buy these and they'll be in the original box and they'll have the price on it of like $4.98. I mean, that's from the 60s. These things were popular in the 60s. My mother used one of these in the 60s and maybe into the 70s, but I think that was it. Now you need to go on eBay and pay through the nose for one. A nice one like this with the box, 9-cup, you're looking at about $100. Then you got to pray the guy knows how to ship it. I went through 3 of them. And, of course, buying through eBay, it arrives broken. You just get your money back. Guy winds up eating it. All right, let's get ready here. They're also very, very easy to clean. Just rinse them out, wipe it out good. Every once in a while, you're going to need to get some something like Ajax or Comet and a little bit of dish liquid mixed with that, and you go around the inside and scrub all the coffee stain off. But they're really, really good pots. It's very delicate. Very expensive, very delicate, but they make a killer cup of coffee. There's nothing like Perk coffee. It's one of those things, I think, once you have it, you say, wow, really good. The whole house smells of coffee when you cook in this coffee pot. The whole place smells like a diner at 6 in the morning. Now, I should have showed you how this top went on. It's too hot to touch now, but you can see right there, there's a little glass lip, and there's one on the other side. So when you put that in, you hook one under here, you let one drop in at the spout, and you turn it so it's in the position it is now. The way it is now, that can't come out. So even when you pour the coffee, you always say, I should hold the top. Well, do you don't, you do, you do, you don't, you don't. Because that's going to stop it from falling out. And there's 3 sizes of this. This is the 9. I have all 3 sizes. There's the 6-cup, and then there's the 4-cup. All work the same exact identical principle. Just you adjust the amount of coffee you put in the basket. And if you're like me and you like it strong, you're not going to adjust it by much. And let's look at the clock. We have about 6 minutes to go. And should you decide to go for one of these pots and you get one on eBay, which is really the only place you can get them, I guess, insist that that glass pump, that stem in the middle, is wrapped separately and placed in the pot. Everything has to be wrapped separately, especially the glass. Because if glass against glass, that's what happened with one of them. Guy didn't, he packed everything nice, but he left the stem in the pot with no cushioning, and big chunk chipped off of it. So you got to insist that every single part is wrapped individually. If they're not willing to do that, pass on the deal. All right, we're nearing the finish line. You can see how nice and dark that is. Love my coffee strong. It is going beautifully. See how nice that's perking? With that low flame. That's why I say once it gets going, that's it. All right, we're at the mark. 9.5 minutes. Actually, a little bit longer. So I wasn't paying attention. Shut the gas. I guess if you have electric, you'd have to remove it. The gas, you really don't have to remove it. The electric, probably, because the damn thing stays hot for God knows how long. You'll be cooking it for 20 minutes. But you see she's starting to slow down already. And let it settle. This way all the grains will float to the bottom and you won't have anything floating around the coffee, although I don't even mind it when it does that. Look how much water got absorbed. See? That's why I say you got to fill it up to that ring. Because a lot of it gets absorbed and obviously it becomes a little more concentrated. You want it strong, but you don't want your hair to stand up. Although I've never met a cup of coffee that was too strong for me. Okay, let's get us set up here. We'll get some milk. And she's calming down. Now this is the milk I prefer. This is evaporated milk. Not condensed milk, mind you. Not that stuff. That's nasty stuff. This is evaporated milk. I don't like cream. I don't like milk. I like evaporated milk. It's kind of like a cross between milk and cream. And better even than half and half. It's just a really delicious milk for coffee. So this thing is just about done perking with a few seconds. All right, and even though this handle is glass, believe it or not, it doesn't get that hot. Let's pour a nice tall cup of coffee here. Steaming hot and fresh Java. I'm telling you, this handle is hardly hot. It's just a little warm. Just a little warm. This is an amazing, amazing coffee pot. Put some of this in here. There we have it. Absolutely delicious cup of coffee. And we're going to go over there and eat it with that, with some of those delicious cornbread loaves. So I hope you got something out of this. Now you know how to make perk coffee in a Pyrex, vintage Pyrex, all glass coffee pot. Okay. Bon appetit.